staying with the Oscars, it was partly about the after party. It is reported that Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce made a star appearance at Madonna's post-awards party. As the Eras Tour sweeps the world, we are getting a better understanding of how cities hosting Taylor Swift benefited economically. In particular, fans spending big on hotels, food and beverages. The Mastercard Economic Institute has calculated that restaurant spending rose by 68% within a 2.5-mile radius of the venue. Spending on accommodation jumped 47%. In Kansas, the Institute estimates that nearly 2 weeks worth of spending happened within just 2 days at the local restaurants near the stadium. Well, David Mann is the chief economist for the Asia Pacific region at Mastercard and joins us now live. Good to have you with us.
Thanks for having me today. It's great to be on.
So everywhere Taylor Swift goes, she ignites the economy. It's a love story, but according to your institute, the Mastercard Economics Institute, it is the Swift lift. You've been crunching the numbers. Just explain what you found.
So what we've been looking at the Mastercard Economics Institute was a way to be able to find from the more granular data exactly what the impact was by location, the time of day, and to give a sense of how much more spending than you would have normally seen around the surrounding areas actually would be. And that's where the numbers that you quoted actually come from. In particular, I think it's interesting that you saw that major uplift in spending, of course, at restaurants, accommodation, even within the 10-mile radius ended up being over 30+% stronger when we looked at the data, for example, from across cities in the US. And that was on average. Many of them were actually significantly above that number, while some were below. What we're thinking of when we think about what it means for this particular region in the Asia Pacific, how we can translate some of the results over to what we see, say, in Singapore, is that we're likely to see something at around that level, maybe even higher in terms of the overall uplift on spending on accommodation, on restaurants, but also even on things like retail spending for those looking for the merchandise, looking for the bracelets or the outfits to be buying. And then while they're out there in the stores, to potentially be buying even more. And on top of that, not just being, say, folks that are living in places where the concerts are taking place, like, say, Singapore, but also people traveling in to buy the tickets for the concerts, but also to come in spending on the accommodation too. That should mean a lot more of the cross-border travel story is really what we should be watching for. And we should be thinking about the extra uplift to spending that otherwise would not have happened. And that's where I think the key focus on the stronger economies that can come from having more of these experience-led events is exactly what we've been seeing around the world. And it has been repeated in the Asia-Pacific region too.
Yeah, it certainly has. And so there's certainly no bad blood in Singapore, more like a gold rush. But talk to us about how this looks likely to benefit Singapore, for example, long term.
Well, the way to think about this is in the post-COVID environment, there's been many things that have been quite disorientating over exactly where we are and what consumer preferences are longer term, given we had effectively a bungee jump in the global economy where we jumped off the bridge in 2020, 2021, we started to make that comeback. But just like in a bungee jump, we lost orientation over exactly where we stand on many factors, including things like consumer preferences towards experiences versus things. Now, initially, we would expect that the experiences end would be doing much better because those were the very things you could not do during the relatively more restricted periods during the COVID times. But actually, long term, it seems to be sticking too. That's the message we're getting from the data we look at, for example, in the United States. And when we think about this from the perspective of the Economics Institute for what's going to happen in Asia Pacific, that persistence of experiences demand, even over and above things spending. And we know last year, for example, exports growth around the world in goods was relatively weak. That focus on the long term of providing more of those really special mega events is a big deal. We're seeing that even, for example, being commented on and something that, say, cities like Hong Kong want to be replicating to help to support their economy as well. And it looks like with the excess savings that had been building up over the years during COVID, that the extra money that is sitting there for enough consumers enables them to go ahead with this experiences-related spending. And I think that preference looks like it is here to stay even in the longer term.
But surely you'd see this afterglow effect with most big events that come to a city. How does the Taylor Swift concert compare to the F1 event, for example?
Well, one thing I would point out with that one is just like the F1, the similarity is that you do get a very different makeup of the actual share of cross-border inbound tourism spending. You get, for example, slightly higher spending ratios coming in the case of the F1 from, say, Australia or indeed from the UK, even Hong Kong, we believe. But actually, when we think about the main differences, one of the big ones, of course, yes, is on the exact demographics of who's coming in, but also with the F1, you do end up also having to have some compromise with the disruption, for example, to traffic around the areas right in the center of town that end up being disrupted because of needing the F1 track literally to be there. When it comes to concerts, especially mega concerts that really do have this sellout trends, and Taylor Swift was not the only one this year that has been doing so well, that is something that does not disrupt as much, adds to the inflow of people. And the key question then becomes, with both actually, is to what degree will the folks coming in also be doing other things, like going to see other tourist attractions, maybe the night safari, for example, in the case of Singapore, or could it be also adding to the foot traffic around the retail outlets as well? In general, it is, I would say, positive from both. Certainly there is extra retail spending on things like merchandise, but do you get that extra staying a few days longer? That really does also come down to the fundamentals that are there for the consumers traveling in particular. Will they make the most of a trip, not just for the actual concert, but adding a bit more retail therapy alongside it and having other experiences? It looks like most of the time we are seeing a bit more of that coming through, and that's good news, we would argue, for the longer term.
And interestingly, the NFL also got a Swift lift as well once the mega superstar started dating Travis Kelce. We'll leave it there for now. David Mann from Mastercard, good to have you with us. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, finally on First Move, proof that people are willing to pay anything for a viral trend. Take a look at these mini tote bags sold by US grocery chain Trader Joe's. They sell for about $3 a piece, but after videos about the bags gained more than 11 million views on TikTok, they're now a hot commodity. A set of all 4 colors you see here sold for more than $500, including shipping, on eBay last week. Some stores are placing limits on the trendy totes, with one employee telling CNN they might not be replenished until September. Well, that wraps up our show. I'm Linda Kincaid. Thanks so much for joining us. Julia is back tomorrow.